Hey there, toy collector friends and Doctor Who fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time-travelling toy collector, and this finally is the TARDIS console as seen in the eras of the 9th and 10th Doctors, and as reproduced by Hero Collector and Eaglemoss as part of their TARDIS console figurine collection. And I am so psyched to have this in my hands. How do I have it in my hands? That's a very good question. I'm happy to tell you that I picked this up from the television and movie store, which is a practical store, also has an online presence, but recently took possession, you may have seen me tweet about it, recently took possession of a lot of Eaglemoss Doctor Who stock, which they're selling through their retail outlets on high streets and in shopping centres, and also on their online store as well. I picked this up physically in hand from their brand new St Albans store, which has only just opened, so you can imagine my excitement. And I'm making this on the day that I have picked this up, so I'm very excited to share this with you. I'm also really super pleased with how it's turned out. Some of the consoles have been a bit hit and miss in terms of the level of quality and in terms of the level of detail. Majority have been fantastic, don't get me wrong, but there's been a few lapses here and there. And I was really hoping that this was not going to be one of those with lapses. Now, I'll be straight with you. There is one issue for me that I'm a bit disappointed about, which I will share momentarily. And it also bleeds into another issue, which is interesting. But otherwise, I'm pleased to tell you that this console is really fantastic. If you excuse the pun. So yeah, this is the version that appeared throughout the tenure of the 9th and 10th Doctors, and sort of was the console, at least, that was part of the War Doctor's TARDIS, but I didn't want to overpopulate the background. That would have been weird. So let's stick with what we have. Now, what I'm really thrilled about is this central column, which does have a plastic casing. And this is one of the things that really bugged me about the 11th/12th Doctor's console, which came with that detachable central column, which structurally is very similar to this, but didn't have the plastic casing around the edges. There's still some polystyrene on there. It misses it completely. And this model just goes to show how utterly unnecessary that omission was. So I'm really not terribly happy about that revelation. That's unfortunate as far as I can see, because it was doable. The flip side of that is that, much like the last few releases, the central console, the column part of the console, is pre-attached. So we've got, you can just about see it in shot, I think, coral at the top, coral at the bottom, but it's not detachable. So it comes pre-lodged into the mold of the console itself, which is fine. However, it's a little bit, not hugely, but that's why I've got this on a slow rotation so you can see it intermittently. It's a little bit at an angle, and I can't help but think that if they'd cast it in two separate pieces, that would be a problem they wouldn't have had, because then we could have attached it again using the same sort of pseudo-magnetic concept that was with the 12th Doctor's TARDIS console, that would have allowed us just to slot it in the right way. It would have held, and it would have been perfectly upright. So that is really my gripe, and the extent of my gripe, because otherwise this is a beautiful piece. I mean, it's a beautiful piece, and it really does everything you want it to do in terms of the aesthetic of the 9th and 10th Doctors. The detailing we can see here on each of the sections, far superior to what we saw on the 13th Doctor's TARDIS, which I think again was one of my biggest fears, was what we'd have some sort of 13th Doctor's TARDIS repeating itself. The sort of ethereal greenish, bluish, turquoise tint is present in the paintwork. We've got that sort of ramsh. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not as detailed as it could be. And I also have the electronic 10th Doctor's TARDIS from the TARDIS Console playset, which again is compatible with the character options figures. But I was only going to wheel that out in case of emergencies for this range. But so it's not as detailed as that, but then it's a different type of beast. That is a playset interactive toy with light up features, opening panels, and stuff. And this is not. This is a hand painted, resin crafted display piece for collectors. So we have to accept, to an extent, the difference between those two worlds. Even though I do populate my reviews and insights and appreciations of these consoles with the character options bits and pieces, I do have to bring it back to the harsh reality that the figurine collection is a different scale and it's a different beast. So if we accept that, then another thing that I love about this, and it sticks a little bit in my throat because the 12th Doctor's console didn't have it, is the presence of the monitor that rotate. Obviously it doesn't rotate in here, it's fixed. And as a tip, a word to the wise, that's going to be the first piece that gets broken off. So if you do get hold of one of these, and it was very busy in the store today, I can tell you, with people queuing up to get these. This was one of the things they advertised that they had and that they would be launching alongside the Doctor's Junk TARDIS, the 11th Doctor's Junk TARDIS console that I posted a video up a little while ago. And again, some of the other, quite a lot of the standalone figurines. None of them really had their magazines with them with the figurines, so if that's something you're after, bear that in mind. But it is rescued stock that they're selling, so, and you know, I'm here for that because they had quite a lot of good stock. But as far as we're talking about here and now, it's this, which for the time being does complete the advertised range of Doctor's consoles. Whether or not we'll have more, who knows. And actually, I'd quite like to invite you to list in the comments below which consoles you would like to see should whoever picks up the franchise in the future, and we know that there's a few that are looking at doing so. What consoles would you like to see enter into this? Any of the sort of darker Time Lord ones, the Master, the Rani, for example, or what specific iterations through the Doctor's TARDIS's timeline would you like to see? What about the 11th Doctor's primary console room from the Amy and Rory years, for example? Any of the 3rd Doctor's TARDIS consoles? I'll leave that out there, but really do let me know down in the comments, because I'd be fascinated to know which ones you might be looking to try and get your hands on somewhere in the future, if this is picked up by the new retailers filling the void left by Eaglemoss. But anyway, I'm going to pick this up and we're going to get this in hand, because I think this is such a beautiful console. I can't wait to give you a bit more of a look at it. One of the first things I'm going to do is show you the top, which is that sort of coral effect that is really nicely done. It's that you can see some of the detailing there, that sort of coral detailing. It's not so great easy to see there. That might work a bit more. You can see again, if I give you an aerial shot, how it doesn't quite, if I'm true to it, it doesn't quite line up. It's minor, so again, you only really notice it if you're looking for it. And when I display this, I'll make a point of making it as unseeable as I can do. But it's really nice. There's some interesting detailing around the rim, and at one point when I was looking at this earlier on, you know, ahead of talking about it, I did wonder whether there was a little element of the War Doctor being evidenced here, with some of this detailing being used to like a tally chart of how many Daleks he was killing along the way. But I think the more I've looked at it now, it's more a sort of an outline detail that's just cracked with time, as it were. So we can see, I'll try and show you these as best I can, We can see the various different panels and paneling there. We've also got some lovely detailing on these sort of the big strap sections that divide up the console and give it that almost, because the console is quite clearly circular, which is a step away from what we had always seen in the past. So bear in mind, this is quite a historic console. One of the reasons I was really keen to get it and so disappointed when I thought I wasn't going to, because this was the first time that the TARDIS console wasn't hexagonal. One way or another, it wasn't hexagonal. And it's actually these segments here that give it that segmented set of sides. And the 5 sides that we would, not hexagonal, sorry, that's the design. It's a how many sides has the TARDIS console got? Sorry, as you can leave in the comments. I think it's 5, but maybe I've got that wrong now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we've got 6 here, which is hexagonal, so I was right the first time. So I'm just too excited with this actually being here. But the point is that we get that denoted by these. And again, very good surface detailing for these, instead of the actual shape of the console itself. So it is a departure from what we were used to, because this is quite clearly circular in nature and far more organic, which we always, knew from day one. It was going to be a more organic being and character within the show. But I think they've captured that really well. So we'll carry on going around so you can see more of that detailing, and I will also then in a second go to the magazine that comes with this, because it does also give us, as usual, the breakdown of what each of the sections look like. This was the one, interestingly, it's quite sparse in terms of surface detail. It's one that had those sort of translucent, I thought them as paperweights. But yeah, they're sort of translucent paperweights. Obviously, they can't be translucent here, is they've got to be sensible in terms of production management. But yes, they've even captured those sort of translucent paperweight balls and things that were moved around the console arbitrarily, it would seem. And they're here too. So I think, again, a frustration harking back in time to what could have been the 13th Doctor's console. So that's a shame. But I'm really delighted with how this has turned out, and that paintwork. You see that there on the surface. The surface paintwork of this is tremendous. It really, that sort of turquoise luminescence that sort of exudes from it really is great, and it does give it that sense of an ethereal quality, and it looks almost fluid. The piece is quite weighty. I can't tell you it's not. It is quite weighty. It would make it an excellent paperweight. I'm going to turn it back a little so you can see what the underneath is like. This is a little more sparse, so there's not a lot going on under here. There's some pipe work that rotates around, as you can see there. A couple of pipes going down into the bowels. We do have the standard sticker at the bottom demonstrating it's a BBC licensed product and it's the 9th and 10th Doctor's console, all of that good stuff there. But ultimately, let me just pop that back on there. All I can tell you is just how much I really love this model. Not least because obviously it's the sort of modern day holy grail that I've been looking for, and perhaps feared would never find. But it's such a blessing that having found it, it's so good. It's such a well-crafted design, and I don't have any major gripes given the hand painted quality, the casting, the price point, etc. of it. For me, it's a very nice model, and it will do what it needs to do in terms of joining those other Doctor Who consoles in my collection, and a fine item it will make. So as promised, here's a quick glance at the magazine that comes with it. Again, this is quite a thin magazine for this one. So there we've got the TARDIS door opening up onto that phenomenal and almost groundbreaking change of design, and there at the bottom it tells us it's the TARDIS console for the 9th and 10th Doctors. Again, we are given the 2005 reboot. This was it coming in, brand new, blah 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 blah. I'll cut to this bit. This is the bit most people find very interesting. So you get a thorough detailing of what is on the console, and then you get the key along the side that tells you these are what the various items are and do. So I think that's lovely, and I think that's very nice to see that included. Some set pictures and an awful lot of very well written background and behind the scenes detailing of this. So that is my review really of the TARDIS console for the 9th and 10th Doctors. I'm very eager now for it to join with its brothers and sisters consoles within my collection, which is going to happen as soon as I finish this video. Do you think this deserves a slot on your shelf? Well, I'm the wrong person to ask, because if you're asking me, my answer is oh hell yeah, because this is the final piece. This is the crowning piece for that particular range as it stands at the moment. And I can say there's a lot of chatter in the shop about people trying to get hold of who'd come late to collecting them, for which I have every sympathy, who were trying to track down some of the earlier models, and we're now seeing them pre-owned and pre-opened at ridiculously exorbitant prices online. And you know, we've had these conversations before, so really try to avoid getting caught up in scalpers. But of course, these are resin, they are damaged easily, and if they break, they break. And so the term collectible for this is a really different ball game, because technically speaking, if this gets damaged, we don't know. I know I'm talking about the hope that somebody will pick up the Eaglemoss mantle and continue with this range, but that's by no means a guarantee. And similarly, it's by no means a guarantee they'll go back and make any of these old models. So it is almost a sense that when they're gone, they're gone. And as each one is, through time, damaged or lost or broken or whatever, the potential value for each individual piece will go up. That's just a reality for those who want to collect it. For other people, they'll look at it and go, that's a load of old rubbish, and chuck it in the bin themselves, because for them it has no intrinsic value or any emotional connection. That's not me. But because of that, I'm not looking to sell these. I'm not looking at them with the view that they're my pension by any stretch of the imagination. But certainly there are those out there who will be purchasing for the option of reselling. So just be mindful and careful about that, and be mindful and careful when you are buying online that you are checking the reliability of either the seller or the website itself through Trustpilot or things like that, so that you don't find yourself inadvertently scammed, because they are very good, very realistic, and anyone can fall for it. So it's not about you not being vigilant, it's about how well and how clever some of these scams can actually be. So that's just a word of warning. Thank you for joining me for the last nearly 20 minutes. You've been fantastic. I hope you found this of interest. If you have, smash the like button, please. Why not subscribe to the channel? Then you can also see any other future products that I'm looking at, or purchases or finds that I have across a wide spectrum of collectibles and toys and sci-fi merchandise, etc, etc, etc. There are other playlists you can check out, and if you're new, if this has brought you to the channel just ahead of the 60th anniversary and the time of the 14th Doctor, at the time of recording, that's what's next on our Doctor Who TV agenda in a few months' time, then maybe you might want to go and check out the other Doctor Who videos and the TARDIS Console videos. You might find them of interest as well. I personally look forward to seeing you in a future video. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been an amazing audience, and this has been the Eaglemoss Hero Collector TARDIS Console for the 9th and 10th Doctors from their TARDIS Console figurine collection. Take care, try not to get exterminated or deleted, and remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care, and bye-bye for now.